Monday was meant to signal the start of the Kiev government's military assault. Instead, the pro-Russian protesters gained more ground, smashing their way into the police headquarters in the city of Horlivka near Donetsk. One Western journalist was attacked, the latest in a series of incidents involving foreign media. Later, the gunmen declared that the police had switched sides.
All the heads of regional administrations have switched to the side of the people and refused to recognize the government in Kiev.
In Slovyansk, heavily armed gunmen seized a nearby airfield, which they claim had been used by government forces Sunday. The head of the self-proclaimed Slovyansk Self-Defense Force appealed to Moscow for help.
Respected President of the Russian Federation, we urge you to personally pay attention to the current situation and help us as your powers and possibilities permit.
Western governments say Russia is already behind the protests. Military observers say the protesters' modern weaponry is identical to that used by the Russian military. Moscow denies involvement. In Kiev, frustrated Ukrainians took to the streets to demand the government take action against the separatists. Acting President Alexander Turchinov questioned police loyalty.
Today, they are demonstrating an inability to defend citizens and actively withstanding the terrorism and separatist movement.
However, the president held out the possibility of holding a referendum on Ukraine's future. That apparent concession emboldened protesters in the eastern city of Donetsk. On stage, speakers demanded a referendum, as some in the crowd answered with chants of Russia. But within the protest movement, there are disagreements.
I want the referendum. Everyone should be asked how they want to live. Personally, I want to live in Russia.
I would vote to stay in Ukraine. I want to live in Ukraine, but to be separated from the center and the West.
The atmosphere remains tense. VOA filmed one young protester being beaten and marched away.
Despite the passing of 2 deadlines, there has still been no concerted action by security forces against protesters here in the east of Ukraine. Here in Donetsk, the protesters are gaining in confidence.
And as protesters occupy more state buildings, the authority of the Kiev government in eastern Ukraine appears to be weakening by the day. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, Donetsk.